As you probably know, Blair, most clients don't, when they first come meet with us, they don't know what they really want. They just know the things they've been told they're supposed to want. I want to retire. I want to put my kids through college. Yeah, it's been a progression. Have me back on another talk. I'll talk to Blair about getting that future self coming today and how you might be able to do that without the other drugs and stuff out there. But for me, when it comes to behavioral finance, it was something that was always just natural to me. And it's been a progression. So it's been really over the last 8 years of running my firm where I've been able to have the freedom to explore it more and go down the path. But it just started with going down the planning process with clients and really being inquisitive about why they wanted the things they said they wanted and just asking questions, why? And then realizing they were telling me one story, yet they were doing a completely other. And I knew there had to be some disconnect in why is that happening? So it's just a little bit of doing a little research on my own, and then I got my SEMA designation, and I forget when that was, and one of the books, a part of the curriculum, was a behavioral finance book. And that was the first time I'd ever heard of the term. And I really enjoyed the book because it allowed me to get a better understanding of some of these biases that I was experiencing with clients, but I didn't even know that they were a thing. I noticed and observed them, but I didn't know there was an actual name for it and there was a reason for it happening. And what I realized is that if I could better understand why my clients move the way they do when it comes to their finances and creating their life, then I would be able to do a better job of crafting a plan that they might actually stick with. And I used to always tell them, I said, I can create this beautiful plan on spreadsheets and in the software, but if you're not going to follow it, it's worthless. And what prevents a lot of times from a plan being executed and followed is these biases that people don't know they're suffering from, that they say they want one thing, but they'll never be able to do it because it just doesn't align with how they're wired. As you probably know, Blair, most clients don't, when they first come meet with us, they don't know what they really want. They just know the things they've been told they're supposed to want. I want to retire. I want to put my kids through college. I want to buy a house. These are things we're told we're supposed to want, but we don't really know why. So there's no connection to it that really motivates us to do the things we need to do. So I think in that situation where they're not connecting with their goals, you've got to help them uncover why they want that goal. And you've got to ask why more than once. You've got to peel back the layers of the onion to help them figure out, well, why do you want that goal? And a lot of times what you'll find out is they don't even really want that goal. I don't want to retire at 65. That's just what I thought I was supposed to do. I'd rather, work till 55 and then go do this for 10 more years. Well, great. Now we know. And why do you want that? And here's the reasons why. My grandfather died when he was 62. I don't know if I'd make it to 65. Great, now we have emotion attached to the goals rather than this is what you're supposed to do. And now I have enough to motivate you to do the things that are going to get you to that because there's something there that means more than this is just what I'm supposed to do. Yeah, so I'm a big fan of George Kinder and the life planning process. I don't have the designation yet, but that's my 2024 plan. And he has these 3 great questions that you can read about in his books. They're highly published. And I took those and kind of made them my own. They're not too different from his, but I go through these questions and they all center around our mortality. And the last question that I end with is asking them, what if today was your last day, what would you regret? Who did you not become? Where did you not get to go? What did you not get to do? And when you think about if today was my last day, and if they're really committed to the process and being honest, you start to really get to know more about them and what's more important. And I think one of the greatest skills we can have as an advisor, and I think I was born with this skill, is the ability to listen and then be able to read cues, whether it's the verbal cues or the silent cues that people put out there, to know where we need to push harder or dig deeper and when they're just giving us a surface level answer. So it's a lot of soft skills that come with it, and then just not being willing to settle for a quick answer and then move on to the next thing. You've got to really commit to the process and be okay as an advisor, spending a lot of time with your clients and maybe never even talking about the numbers, because I really think you have to get to the root of what it is they want, understanding their why, and helping them understand that before you get to it. So it's questions and patience. I think there's space everywhere for all advisors. So I think for some advisors that they don't want to get there and that's not their strength, there will be plenty of clients that they don't want to go to these depths. You can try and try, but unless somebody really is open to figuring this out and they want to, you can't force them to figure out what they want. So I think there could still be a need for them, but let's say you want to make that conversion over this way, I think it just starts simple and just say, hey, talking to your clients, hey, we've been working together for a while. I have a good idea of where your goals are, but I really want to know more about why you want those goals. And just start with like 1 or 2 deeper level questions. And just start slow and add 1 or 2 new questions every time you see them in review, getting more and more deeper to who they are. And even beyond their goals, just why do they do the things they do? What is most important to them? Understand their values. And then once you get comfortable doing that, it becomes easier. It's just like anything. The more reps you have asking these questions, sitting there quietly, I'm horrible when it comes to silence in most situations, but when it comes to this part of working with my clients, I'll sit there all day and just give them the space to think about it and come up with the answer. You don't want to be the first one to speak in that situation. You want them to answer first, because then you win that little battle. But I think it just starts small. Find 1 or 2 questions, whether they're your own or another advisor's, and start implementing those and getting comfortable with going that deep. And I think it becomes a lot easier from there. Drew, that's a great question. I think the purist would say you don't give them a heads up and you wait and get the most authentic answer when you ask them in the moment. But I don't think everybody knows the answer truly, and they're just going to skip over it with the pressure on them first time hearing it. So we actually, as a part of our onboarding process, we have like a workflow in our email campaigns, and the email that goes out a week before the meeting for a first meeting has those 3 questions in it, and just says, hey, I'm going to want to have this discussion with you. We're going to hit on these 3 questions. So think about them between now and then and come prepared. And I've had a few clients actually type out their responses and send it to me before they come in, which was really cool, because then I knew they were excited and they really wanted to go down this level. But I do think that there's a benefit to giving it to them ahead of time, to give them more time to think about it. I think you're going to get a little bit more thought than if you just surprise them with it. Yeah, so I'm in an interesting position because I wasn't as far into life planning or trying to do so when I started my firm. So my clients who came to me didn't come to me looking for an advisor that was going to get deep with them and emotional. And then over the years, we've slowly done it as I've grown to learn how to do it, and they've gotten comfortable with it. So I always ask them, what are you not doing that you wish you were? And that usually takes us down the path. So I do believe that life planning or connected ways of doing life planning is the future of the majority of what we're going to be doing for our clients. So it is a big part, and I just launched a new relationship that, in full disclosure, no one has asked for, no one has signed up for, but it's really, really intense, and it's more along the lines of life designing and kind of coaching than it is the financial planning component of it. So I am a big believer in going to these depths, really getting to understand our clients, figuring out what it is they want to live, helping them find their authentic life, and then building the numbers to that plan. And you can't figure out the life that a client really wants to live without understanding their why, and then understanding what are the biases that they're coming to. Joy talked about basically our money stories, what we come with to the table, the way we view money. As an advisor, I have to understand that, because it is very hard to change somebody's money story. Blair talked about having her clients spend money and giving them the okay to do so. Same thing with me, but you have clients who for 30 years, 35 years, live below their means, save. You can't turn that switch off and all of a sudden go into spend mode. Like, that's part of their DNA, and it takes time to get over that. So if I know that's how they are, there's little things that I can do in our meetings or tasks I give them to be able to get them to move forward and get comfortable doing it. So you've got to understand their why, but you also have to understand what are the biases that they're suffering from to be able to help them. And I don't think the answer is to say, oh, that's recency bias, or that is, that's you're anchoring to this last return. They don't care about that. I think there's an opportunity to educate your clients through creating content and things along those lines, so they can read it and connect it on their own. But in the moment, you don't want to tell them what they're suffering from. You want to be able to identify it and then know them well enough that you can help them navigate through it, and not necessarily like tell them, hey, you're dumb for doing this. This is stupid. It's identifying it and helping them work through it. Financial advisors should understand their own biases, because we bring we're supposed to be removed from the client's plan and not put our own influences on it, but we're humans. So understanding our own biases to make sure we don't place those on our clients as well. So I would imagine that would be a good practice for advisors to have.
Absolutely. Justin, like I was saying, we have a ton of questions coming in, so make sure you stick around. But we want to go ahead. We want to bring Morgan Housel in now to get a sense of sort of